Hello everybody, welcome back to the Foreman Files Media YouTube channel, and welcome back to this video. And today we're going to be talking about Jaime Jaquez and how 18, some people might have thought it was a steal, or not a steal, some people might have thought it was a reach, and just talking about overall how he fits into the Heat, his play style, and what we can see him do in the future. Before we start this video, I want to talk about just about how, just subscribe to this channel, to make sure to follow the links that I'm putting in the comment section. One of them is to subscribe to this channel. I think that's going to be the top one. The second one is to follow us on Instagram. And the third one is to follow me personally on Instagram. I think I might put extra ones, just to follow us on potentially more social media platforms as we try to grow this channel as a whole and try to grow this company, this media business. So yeah, overall I'm just making this video because I think a lot of people have different opinions on Jaime Jaquez, on how some people might think that this was definitely a reach. Some people might think that this was a good pick, this is where it's projected. Yeah, we're just gonna be talking about that. So in my personal opinion, I think that this was not a reach. Obviously, I don't think that this is a steal. I think this was a good pick by the Miami Heat. They got somebody that fits their play style, that fits their team's culture, and most importantly, someone who can impact them right away. First, I want to talk about Jaime Jaquez's play style. As crazy as it sounds, I don't think this is disrespectful, but as crazy as it sounds, Jaime Jaquez's playstyle kind of reminds me of the great Kobe Bryant. How he's able to have amazing footwork, his touch around the paint, his turnaround jumpers, his fadeaway jumpers around the mid-range area. Just watching his film made me think about Kobe a little bit. So yeah, let's start with his interior offense. Him being in the post, him having a nice little baby hook, and being able to finish over defenders, but most importantly, him maneuvering around taller defenders to get to the post, to get to the cup, is probably what most impressed me in terms of his interior offense. Moving on to the mid range, I think this is the biggest part of his game, his ability to hit the floater, his ability to distribute from the mid-range area, how he has a nice mid-range jump shot, how he can hit the fadeaway. Even when there's a smaller defender on him, he's able to use his strength to power in a little bit more and has a nice little touch shot. So honestly, that was the part that most reminded me about Kobe Bryant, how he was able to be aggressive when he needs to and hit the hard follow-away shots also when he needs to, when you have a bigger defender in the post. How this play style, also Jaime Jaquez's 3-point shot, it's not bad, but I wouldn't say that is his main part of his game where he relies on most. He definitely relies on his his mid-range shots, his touch shots, his baby hooks, stuff like that. And from somebody being like, I'd say not really baby hooks, but it would hit like little turnarounds, like touch shots mostly. So for the Miami Heat, how this can help them, this is what the Heat like to do. The Heat have players that do this type of stuff, most notably Jimmy Butler. But, them running their offense around Bam, I think it'll be interesting seeing if Jaime Jaquez how he can distribute off of possibly a pick and roll, which they usually save for guys like Kyle Lowry, Gabe Vincent, more smaller guards. But maybe saying, a wing and, a forward, do that pick and roll, it could open up some more stuff for that Miami Heat and give Jaime Jaquez going downhill, being able to go to the cup and finishing around what we mentioned earlier, around taller defenders, even into taller defenders. I want to talk about his time at UCLA, where he played on competitive teams. When he was in his earlier years at UCLA, obviously with Johnny Juzang, how they made it to the Final Four, lost to Jalen Suggs, and they made it out as an 11 seed, and it was the first time that someone from the from the play-in games. The first four ever made it to the final four, and they almost made it to the championship. With Jaime Jaquez playing well in that game, with Johnny Juzang obviously leading them. But obviously Jalen Suggs' crazy half-court shots in the game. Usually when you see stuff like that, you'd expect the crowd to go crazy, but obviously that time during the virus, it was different. So I want to talk about this year being with Amari Bailey and being with Jaylen Clark. First, I want to talk about Jaylen Clark and his impact. Jaylen Clark was an amazing perimeter defender. He was able to stop the opposing team's best guard. He was basically able to limit them to just tough contested shots and even having to pass the ball away most times. Later into the season, he got injured and he was out for the whole season. This really made sure that UCLA was not able to make that championship run they were hoping in Jaime Jaquez's final year. But, their defense wasn't there. We saw some high-scoring games you wouldn't really expect from a team with as good as a defense from UCLA. So, Jaylen Clark not being there for the championship team hurt them a lot. Now I want to talk about Amari Bailey and how his impact, it helped UCLA. When Jaylen Clark went down with an injury, Amari Bailey had to step up a lot. How he became their second scorer. He was able to distribute that offense. Amari Bailey went to the Hornets. I believe he went to the Hornets at somewhere in the second round. I think it was a great pick. I had a first round grade on Amari Bailey. I know in my mock draft I didn't have him in the first round, but I had a first round grade on him. His offense is what you'd expect in an NBA guard. He has a nice mid-range, nice touch, and that really helped. Nice three-pointer also. That really helped UCLA, get to the Sweet 16. Obviously, eventually losing to Gonzaga in the Sweet 16. But Amari Bailey hit that big three-pointer. Then after that, Julian Strawther, he hit that three that ended the game. So just impressive stuff by Amari Bailey and how he was able to step up when their lead guard went down. Also, obviously, this video is about Jaime Jaquez, and we want to talk about his dominance in March Madness. He took a team without their starting, I don't know if Clark played the one or the two, but without their starting lead guard, who was really the igniter on defense. Obviously, you can't win defense wins championships. So them losing their defensive main guard, Jaime Jaquez had to step up defensively, which I think that probably boosted his draft stock a little bit, being able to be more impressive on the defensive side. And scoring, he was doing what he's been doing the whole time. He's able to get to his spots. He's able to use the floater, the runner, like we mentioned earlier, the mid-range especially. And he was able to go toe-to-toe with arguably the nation's best player, Drew Timme, even though obviously he'd probably take Zach Edey, he'd probably take Trace Jackson Davis, maybe even Brandon Miller, who was very impressive over him. But Drew Timme, he's known as one of the nation's best players. And they went toe-to-toe. Obviously, Drew Timme advancing. That Gonzaga team, though, got destroyed by UConn in the Elite Eight, who obviously went on to win the championship in dominant fashion. So it was just impressive stuff from Jaime Jaquez the whole time, showing that he could lead a team this far down the road. And even though they ended up coming up short, Jaime Jaquez was very impressive. I want to talk about the Heat now and what we know they like in their players. They like hard-nosed players, guys that die for loose balls, guys that are willing to put their body on the line, and most of all, guys that just will play in their system. Guys that don't do stuff that they're not supposed to do, guys that don't do too much. I really was impressed with Gabe Vincent this past season, how we really coming into this season, only Miami Heat fans, and really knew that this guy could have been the real deal, that this guy was able to be a starting point guard on potentially a championship team. So I really liked Gabe Vincent this whole season. In my personal opinion, Gabe Vincent is the most underrated player in the NBA. I know that might sound crazy, but the way he was able to be the starting point guard on a team that made the championship, and we saw when he went down with an injury, I believe he was out 1 or 2 games. I think 1 game when Kyle Lowry was there, the team was not the same. They didn't have as much of a scoring impact. and that's also a reason why they did not win the championship with Tyler Hero being out. But we know the Heat like guys that fit into their system. They don't like good players. They like good players for them. If you know what I'm talking about, they like players that will help them win right now, because that's the position they're in right now. With Jimmy Butler being around 30, how is he, like 32, 33? He's their number one guy, and he's gonna try to win a championship with them. I would not be surprised if Jimmy Butler stayed with them the rest of his career. I think that's probably the most likely. As for Jaime Jaquez, do I think he'd be a future starter? Yes, I definitely think he'd be a future starter. Whether it's probably at the 3, move Jimmy to the 2. Obviously, the shooting is not amazing, but I think he could definitely be the future starter. They have Max Strus right now at the starting 2. But if Jaime Jaquez can really improve that 3-point shot, I would not be surprised if he ended up starting possibly even year 2, because he's already an experienced player. He's an older guy coming out of college, and he's a guy that's going to make an immediate impact for the Miami Heat. Now, do I think he'd be a future All-Star? We have to draw the line here. Obviously, I don't think, last video I posted, I don't think Jett Howard can be a future All-Star. So I definitely don't think Jaime Jaquez could. Great player. He's a great role player. He's going to be great for the Miami Heat in this upcoming season. All-Star is definitely a stretch, though. So yeah, thank you for watching this video. Let me know your opinion on the 18th overall pick, whether you think it was a steal, probably not, but whether you think it was a reach, or whether you think it was a good pick. And as I mentioned earlier, I thought it was a good pick. So yeah, thank you for watching this video, and see you.